Are you worried about the future so much that it actually affects you in your day-to-day life? If your constant thoughts are in the future or in the past and you're worried about what's to come and the uncertainties, you're going to really love this podcast. Because in this podcast, I'm going to show you exactly how I take myself and my students in the Nafs Transformation School through a complete life overhaul when we get stuck in the past or the future. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, and welcome to the Million Muslim Minds Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Abdul Shahid, the founder of the Muslim Life Coach Institute, lead coach and therapist, helping you to transform your life through the science of the Nafs. This podcast is for you if you are ready to up-level your life, get away from the fear and the anxiety and overwhelm, and create the most abundant life, beautiful relationships, and a life that you love. If you're ready for that, ready to create a legacy, let's do this. Assalamu alaikum. Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the podcast where we dive into the future, the uncertain future that seems to be creating so much fear in the minds of the people. Now, if you are one of those people, I want to just say to you that you can actually change that, and it's within your power and control to change it. And I'm going to show you how I do it, how I take the students on the Nafs Transformation School, how they do it, and we're really going to dive in on this podcast in actually figuring out the steps that will help you to create a future that you can love. You see, if we focus on all of the things that we're scared of happening, then the reality is that those things could very well happen. And if you change the direction of your mind, the direction of your emotions, then what's going to happen is the direction of your life is going to change, and it's going to go towards the amazing future that you could love. And I want to just instill that in you right from the beginning of this podcast. I want you to decide that you're going to have an amazing future. You're going to have an amazing future. You're going to create it with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, I'm going to help you along that journey, inshallah, through this podcast. And when you're ready, you want to get started. Let's get straight into this. I want to address one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to the future. We get into this state of anxiety or worry or stress. You know, we call it different things, but we get stuck in our minds, and it actually plays out in your physical body. You know this because you feel it in your stomach, you feel it in your chest. It's like this draining feeling. And it really is a feeling where, you know, it depletes your energy. And the reason that happens is because we get into this state of worry and anxiety about what's to come. And much of the reason for that is that we're so focused on this awful future, we almost make it happen. And so here, you can actually turn it around, because when you recognize that your focus on this awful future is about to make it happen, you can change your focus. So I stop the fear and the anxieties or the worries or that, you know, uncomfortable feeling that we all experience it, but I stop that from impacting my life in the way that I'm going to share with you right here and now. And I want you to just really pay attention to what it is, because it's so simple. It's so simple that you can actually do it, and at the same time it's that simple that you can overlook it and think, actually, you know, how's that going to benefit me? You know, how's that going to change my huge problems? And this is what we do, right? I know that because as I take my students through a process of, you know, implementing the principles of the science of the Nafs. The science of the Nafs is the science, it's the knowledge, it's the framework of how you work, how you and every other human being works. And of course, we understand this through divine revelation, right? The Quran and Sunnah. And in understanding that, when you align yourself, meaning when you live according to those principles, then what it will do is that it will give you the best possible outcomes. Now, the gap between all of the courses you've done and the stuff you've learned in your life and how you want your life to be, the gap between that, we bridge that gap using the science of the nafs. So this is what I'm talking to you about. So if you want to know what I'm on about and where this is coming from, this is totally based on the principles that we practice within the Nafs Transformation School. So here's the thing. This is what I do, and this is what I do deliberately. I do this daily. I do it deliberately, and I do not let my mind go off on a tangent and just follow anything that comes to it, because the reality is that you're going to be bombarded with information from your daily life, and it's a lot of it is neutral and a lot of it is negative, and sometimes even the neutral stuff we actually turn it into a negative spiral by the thinking that we have around it, the opinions that we hold. And these are not things that we don't have control over. And this is exactly what I want you to do. I want you to make a decision, and this is what we're going to begin with. You want to make a decision that today's the day that you stop actually allowing that negative feeling, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's overwhelm, whatever the feeling is for you, right? Anger, frustration, resentment, like whatever bothers you the most. I want you to decide that you will stop allowing that to influence your life. That's the first step. You've got to make a decision. And I do this on a daily basis. So let me tell you, like making a decision on a daily basis is simply reinforcing the direction of your mind. Now, you decide that today, and that will shape your future. That will shape your future. And I'll explain to you how in just a moment. But here's the thing, for the moment, like what happens is when we talk about the future, like I know that many of my students, they say stuff like, I'm just being realistic, or, I'm just trying to cover all angles to make sure, and it's really a fail safe, and it's not, and it's not realistic at all, because you don't know the future just like I don't know the future, and the only one that truly knows the future is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the thing is, if the future is completely only in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you and I and all of the news forecasters, all of those people that talk about the negative future and the impending doom, all of those people and everything that you talk about, be it even be it your local imam who drums in like we're at the end of the times. Like, I get it, I understand what they're talking about, but when you live your life as though that's it, it's all over, like you live from a place of giving up, and that's not what we're taught in the deen. What we're taught in the deen is that even in the very last moment, when you have the ability to sow a seed of good, like sow the seed, like do the good, like you will reap the rewards, the harvest of that good. So what I want you to do is to make that decision, and I want you to do this daily. So if you do this daily, it will change your life. Now, let me tell you, when I think about my future, I don't think about my future with this impending doom, because I know that He subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He is the most merciful, the most compassionate. So if that's the case, then I don't need to think about this impending doom, and because that certainly doesn't motivate me. And what I'm going to think about is I'm going to think about this amazing future. Let me tell you what I have planned for my future. Now, one of the things I planned for my future is to include you. Now, one of the ways that I do this is through this podcast. Another way that I do this is by taking you through the Nafs Transformation School. In that program, we go through a complete life overhaul. We take charge of our lives. We resolve problems that we've had for a lifetime, things that we thought, are unresolvable. Like nothing is unresolvable. So we go to work in making that happen, and we do it through the principles of the science of the nafs. So my future includes that. And just imagine that if I had thought about that future, and I've got a goal of taking 1 million of you through this journey of transforming your life, and I have no doubt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that makes it all happen, and I'm totally reliant upon that, and I know it's going to happen, inshallah. So here's the thing, if you if you hear me talking about that, you can sense the excitement in my voice, right? I am excited about it. It helps me to jump out of bed in the morning because I love the idea of serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by serving you, by helping you to transform your lives, by helping you to transform your lives. Like each and every one of you million that transforms your lives, you're going to impact the lives of your entire families, your neighbors, the people around you, the people you encounter. So really, we're going beyond 1 million people. We're going into the hundreds of millions. And so by default, the ripple effect of that is huge. Now, think about this. My entire thinking there is all in the positive. I'm not expecting this impending doom. I'm not allowing the fears of how will I do it? Will I be able to cope? And, do I have the ability? I'm not even thinking that. I'm not thinking that at all. It doesn't come into my future plans. You see, my future plans are all of a positive nature. And what that does is that it creates this inevitable action that comes out of my behavior, the way that I show up in my day. And what I want you to understand is that this is a total cause and effect. The effect is that, the million people or the hundreds of millions of people that get impacted by this. But the cause of all of that is the beginning, and it begins with me making a decision. You see, I said to you, I do this daily, and I make that decision daily, and I want you to understand that you can do the same thing. I'm telling you this because I want you to do the same thing, and it will transform your life because it's a cause and effect. It's a total game changer. If you change the cause by making that decision daily, then what will happen is that you will change the effect. You will change the effect. You will stop living from a place of fear. And the second thing that you've got to do is also tied into what I've just said to you there. In my own goals, in my own plan for the future, what I've tied into that is that, and what deletes the fear, what takes away that fear is that I put myself into a divine formula, if you like. The divine formula doesn't include me because I'm created. What that includes is that it includes my requesting and reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, requesting of the results and pursuing it and expecting it and putting my total trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all I have to do then after that is I need to manage my mind, I need to manage my emotions, I need to manage my behavior. And the way that we do that is, of course, as we've been talking about throughout this entire podcast, we do that through the principles of the science of the Nafs. So if you want to do the same, and I suggest that you look forward to this amazing future, and you don't have to do it with this huge goal that's overwhelming. I'm just giving you a very real example. For me, that's very real because that's what I've decided upon, right? And I've built up to it. It's not like I did it right from, straight out the gate, right from the beginning. I built up to it over the years. Now, let's bring it back to everyday life. We're experiencing fear and anxiety, and worry and stress, all about this impending awful future. I want you to decide that this year you're going to change that future. You're not going to change it at the end of the year. You're going to begin by changing it today. You're going to decide that you're going to have the most amazing year. And the most amazing year doesn't have to be Jannah. It doesn't have to be this amazing, experience, but it just has to be something that you like. And you can just begin with something you like, something that's acceptable, something that's nice, something that you'll enjoy, something that'll be a little bit fun. And you want to then connect it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He, Azza wa Jal, makes it all happen, folk. He makes it all happen. And so when you formulate your life like that, then what it's going to do is going to help you to actualize a life beyond your wildest dreams. When I say that, I literally mean it, because right now your dreaming is limited. It's limited to the state of your mind. So what we want to do is we want to unleash the state of your mind. We want to unlock it. We want to change the cause in your life so that the effects change. The effects will be your life. It will be the result of your life. It will be the future. But what you have total control over is the cause, where you begin. And what I'm saying to you is that, how I do it, how I take all my students through, and I know many of you students are listening to this, so I want you to tap into the mind, the mind management, the emotional mastery, tap into the emotional rewiring. These 3 foundational modules within the program will help you to change your life ongoing, and you will keep on doing it 30 days, 60 days, 180 days, 365 days, and then it will be year after year after year. And we do this to create the most abundant, the most amazing, the most wonderful experience of dunya and akhirah. We're always aiming for both. But we want to start off with the dunya, folk. We want to start off with the dunya, and we want to start off with now, today. So begin that day by doing exactly what I'm talking about. Let's keep it simple. Make that decision daily. Begin deliberately every day, and don't let your mind go off on a tangent. That's the key here. You begin every day, and you begin with this amazing future in mind. You think about that, and you decide that that's where you're headed. But you're not going to be happy when you get there. You're going to be happy today, and it's going to create this momentum of energy and emotion inside of you that's going to really help you to drive your life forward. This is really a simple formula of cause and effect. Think about it like this. Your fear creates a reaction. The reaction is your behavior and whatever you do, and that's going to create the results in your life. If you want to change that, change the fear, change the cause, change what you think right at the beginning of the road, and that will change how you feel, how you react, and ultimately it will change your results. Your results are your future. You don't have to worry about those results. You just got to worry about the cause. If you focus on the cause, it will totally change your life. I hope this makes total sense to you. And I suggest, I don't normally say take notes on these podcasts, but I suggest you take notes on this podcast and you apply it every day. You're going to love this. And you're going to be one of those million that changes your life. Trust yourself. Trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And trust this process. You're going to love this. I'll speak to you very soon. Jazakumullah khair. Hey guys, if you are ready to take this life of yours to the next level, I want to help you to transform your mind, your relationship, and your entire life. Join me on the Nafs Transformation School. We are offering 2 weeks free access to begin your journey. You're going to love this. And if you're ready for it, go to themuslimlifecoach.org/live. That is muslimlifecoach.org/live, and begin the journey of your life. It's going to be amazing.